Major court ruling regarding President Trump's sweeping tariffs. The Supreme Court handed the Trump administration a crushing defeat today, striking down the president's tariff policy, calling it illegal.
In a 6-3 decision, the High Court ruled the president does not have the authority to impose tariffs under an emergency powers law. But the president is not backing down, announcing a new global tariff.
We have team coverage on this decision. Jen Bisram is taking a look at how local businesses will be affected. But we want to begin with Doug Williams, who has the latest on today's ruling. Doug?
Jessica and Christine, President Trump had two main reactions to Friday's ruling. First, to put it mildly, his disappointment in the Supreme Court for their decision. But second, his belief that the decision legally clarifies his ability to continue using tariffs. So, because the two of those things seem to contradict each other, we spoke to experts about what this might all mean for you. In a massive 6-3 ruling Friday, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down President Trump's use of sweeping tariffs around the world, ruling that he does not have the authority without congressional approval. Justice Neil Gorsuch, an appointee of President Trump's, writes in the opinion for the majority, quote, "The deliberative nature of the legislative process was the whole point of its design."
I'm ashamed of certain members of the court. Absolutely ashamed.
President Trump condemned the court's ruling while also describing it at times as helpful and insisting that tariffs will continue.
They could have made this decision a long time ago. Not complex. They're wrong on it. It's a ridiculous decision. That gave uncertainty. Now we have certainty. It's a little more complicated. The process takes a little more time, but the end result is going to get us more money.
The president, in fact, announced a new additional 10% global tariff, citing Justice Kavanaugh's language in dissent, who wrote, quote, "The decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward."
Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act, Section 301 of the Trade Act. There's a lot of numbers, a lot of sections flying around here. But essentially, they force the president and the executive branch to jump through a few more hoops to get to the place that he wants to go.
Alex Jaquez, formerly of the White House Economic Council under President Biden, says it's entirely possible that new tariffs can fully replace what the Supreme Court's ruling takes away. As for reimbursements for businesses or consumers,
now we have to wait and see of how or if those payments are going to be refunded to importers and to businesses. And then, of course, if you're a consumer that has been paying higher prices for goods over the last year or so, there is no guarantee, of course, that that money is going to make its way back to you.
And so that new 10% tariff actually serves as a good example of the added constraints now. It has an expiration date. If it doesn't get congressional approval in the next 150 days, it goes away. Local lawmakers have started voicing their opinions on Trump's plans moving forward. Republican Congressman Mike Lawler says he supports the president's continued push for fair trade agreements, while Governor Hochul said that the president, quote, needs to take no for an answer. Jessica, Christine.
Thank you, Doug.
And major markets closed in the green today with slight gains. The Dow rose by about 230 points, the S&P ticking up 48, the NASDAQ gaining 203 points.
So what about small business owners? Well, some say that they're sensing some relief, but still uncertain.
Jennifer Bisram reports on how tariffs have impacted their bottom line.
The aroma of seared beef filling the kitchen at Hamburger America in Manhattan Friday.
Part of our business model is making sure that we stay as affordable as we can.
But co-owner Andrew Schnipper says he had a lot of pricing pressure since tariffs were put in place by the Trump administration last year. Everything from packaging to the beef.
We've been told that the American beef prices have gone up because of tariffs, because imports have gone up. And as a result, the whole beef market has increased in cost. We try to pass along as little as we can to the customer. We just had a price increase of a couple percentage points towards the end of last year.
His popular burgers were $7.50. They're now $7.75. And French fries are now 15 cents more, too. And now, after the president's announcement of a new 10% global tariff, Schnipper worries more financial strain may be ahead.
Anything that increases our costs, we have to make a business decision. We either pass it on to customers or we have to figure out how to be more efficient in-house, which might mean cutting labor, or the amount of hours that we have for people. It will always have an impact on a small business like this.
It's still unclear what will happen to the billions of dollars in tariffs already collected and if local businesses will be able to get any of that money back. From the West Village, Jennifer Bisram, CBS News, New York.
To read the ruling from the Supreme Court and get the latest reaction to the decision, head over to CBSNewYork.com.